All right, so today we're going to be doing lecture 23, writing lines from 2 points. I'm going to look at number 7 first. So let's do that one. So for number 7, they're only going to give you 2 points. I've got 0, -5. That's the first point that they give me. And then I've got 4, -1. Yep. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to find the slope. I'm going to be using this formula right here. M equals y2 minus y1 on top of the fraction, and x2 minus x1 on the bottom. Okay, so what are my y values going to be? Yep. So I'm going to have -1 minus -5. And then notice, because I have a double negative right here, I'm putting the -5 inside parentheses. And I urge you to do the same thing. So we subtract the y values on top. On the bottom of the fraction, we have the x values that we're going to subtract. My x values are going to be 4 and 0. So I'm going to have 4 minus 0 on the bottom. So then I subtract the numbers on the top first. What you'll notice on the top is you have a double negative. And a double negative is the same thing as a positive. So it's actually -1 plus 5. That's going to give you 4. So I've got 4 on top. On the bottom, I have 4 minus 0. That's going to be 4. Yep. And then 4 divided by 4 is 1. That's going to be your slope. And I'll put a box around that. Not yet. We still got to find the y-intercept. That's going to be on the next slide. But for now, we know what the slope is. Now, to find the y-intercept, we need the slope, which we just found, so that's good. But we also need one of the ordered pairs. So we're going to either be choosing the first one or the second one. It actually doesn't matter which one you choose. So I'm going to choose this one right here, 4, -1. So I'm going to be using 4, -1. And we know that our slope is 1. We just found that out. So now I'm going to use y equals mx plus b. That way I can figure out what b is. So I write out the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and I start plugging in all my variables. So my y value is going to be from this ordered pair right here, -1. And my x value is going to be 4. And my m is going to be 1. So plugging in all those numbers, y is -1, m is +1, and x is 4. I still don't know what b is yet, but we're about to figure that out. So now the only thing that I can do is I can multiply 1 by 4. 1 times 4 is what? 4. Yep. I bring down my plus b and my -1. Yes. Good. So now to get b by itself, I need to get rid of this +4, and I'm going to do that by subtracting 4 from both sides. So when I subtract 4 from both sides, they're going to cancel out on the right side, but on the left side, they're going to add up to give me -5. So these are going to be canceled out, but the -1 minus 4 is going to give me -5. Yep.
4x minus 5.
So we're going to be using the slope though. And I'll show you what that looks like once I get done with this. So that's going to be my B value.
So that was the next step.
Right. This is the Y-intercept. The last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to write my answer as y equals mx plus b. My m is going to be 1, so I get 1x. And my b is -5, so I'm going to put a -5 right there. And I'm done. That's my answer. Yep, 1x minus 5. Now, another way you can write this is y equals x minus 5. That's the same answer. Is that what you were going to ask?
Yeah, because I know the other day I was getting that too, and I kind of just figured that was the same thing.
Yeah. So if you have a 1 out in front, like we have right here, that's the same thing as not writing a number at all. So then if you look at your paper at number 7, you can see pretty easily that the answer is going to be A. All right. Any questions before I move on to number 9? Okay. We're going to skip to number 9. I think that one's pretty easy too. So for number 9, I'm given 2 different ordered pairs, -1, -3, and -2, -4. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to figure out what the slope is. We're going to subtract the y values on top and the x values on the bottom. Okay, so my y values are going to be -4 and -3. So when I subtract the -3, I'm going to have a double negative. So that's why I'm putting the -3 inside parentheses. That's very important. But as for my x values, though, it's kind of the same story. I've got -2 right here, and I'm going to be subtracting -1. So that's also going to give me a double negative. So I put all my numbers in there, and I do the top, and then I do the bottom. So on the top of the fraction, in the numerator, I have -4 minus -3, and that's the same thing as -4 plus 3. -1. And then in the bottom of the fraction, I have -2 plus 1, which is also -1.
That's gonna make it positive, right?
Right. Because I'm dividing 2 negative numbers and I get a +1. That's going to be my slope for this one. They won't always be whole numbers like this, but that's why I wanted to start it off with this one, because you do get whole numbers for your slope. Okay, so now that we know what the slope is, we can figure out what the y-intercept is, b, right? So which ordered pair do you want to use, the one on the left or the one on the right?
One already.
Okay, let's use this one. It doesn't matter which one you choose, because even if you chose this one, you would get the same answer as I do at the very end. And you can try that if you like. But I'm going to be using this ordered pair right here, and my slope is 1. So I'm going to use y equals mx plus b to figure out what b is. So my y value is going to be this -4 right here. The y value always comes second in an ordered pair, while the x value always comes first. My m is 1, my x is -2, and I'm going to leave b as a variable for now. So what am I going to do next here? I'm going to multiply 1 by -2. So 1 times -2 is -2 because I'm just multiplying by 1. Okay, so I want to get b by itself on the right-hand side. So I need to get rid of the -2 by adding 2 to both sides. That's going to cancel out the -2 on the right side. So now these are gone. And then over here, I have -4 plus 2, -2. Yep. That's going to be my b value, also known as the y-intercept. So this line, whatever it is, it's going to cross the y-axis at -2. Okay. So now I have enough information to write out my line. We know that m is going to be 1. And we know that b is going to be -2. So I'm going to put a -2 right here. You could write it like that, or you could write it like this, x minus 2. Yeah, so your answer choice is going to be C.
I keep doing that part wrong.
The
It's, I put
Yeah, I keep getting that part wrong too.
I don't put the slope in for x.
oh,
I like that time I put -4
yeah,
right there,
okay.
but I got it.
So yeah, your x is going to be right here, and your y is going to be right here. All right, so that's number 9. The last one that I'm going to do with you guys is number 10. 10 is kind of easy too, and it's got a really good fraction in it, so I thought I'd talk about it. Let's do number 10. So this one says 0, 4. So my x value is going to be 0, my y value is going to be 4, and I have 3, 3. So for this ordered pair, the x value and the y value are going to equal each other. But as usual, I'm going to find the slope first. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so I'm going to underline the y values. It's going to be this 3 right here and this 4 right here. So we're going to get 3 minus 4. Draw my fraction bar. And then in red, I'm going to underline my x values. This 3 and this 0. So 3 minus 0. Okay, so on top, I have 3 minus 4. That's going to be -1. But on the bottom, it's 3 minus 0, and that would be what? Three minus 0 is 3. So this is going to be my slope. It's going to be a negative fraction. So when I do the slope, the y values come first. And I usually start off with the second one, so 3 minus 4, 3 minus 0. That's the way I do it. Okay, so I know my slope is going to be negative 1/3. Let's see what the y-intercept is going to be. Now, which ordered pair do you want to choose for this one? This one right here? Okay. 3, 3. So we chose 3, 3, and my slope is negative 1/3. So now I'm ready to do y equals mx plus b. I'm going to find all those numbers and put them where they should be. So the y value is from this ordered pair. It's going to be this 3 right here. My m value is going to be my slope. That's going to be negative 1/3. What's my x value going to be? 3. Yep. Okay, so there's only one thing I can do at this point. It's multiply these two numbers together. They will cancel out. Yep. So what you'll notice is you'll have 3 in the denominator and you'll have a 3 in the numerator. So they're actually going to cancel out, leaving me with a negative 1. So how can I get rid of a negative 1? You can add 1 to both sides, right? And then 3 plus 1 is going to be 4. That's going to be my y-intercept. Okay. So now I can put my answer as y equals mx plus b because I know what m is. That's going to be negative 1/3. And I know what b is. That's going to be 4. And I'm done. Yep. You're going to choose B. Okay, so go ahead and try the rest of them. If you get stuck with the fractions, you can use one of my calculators up there, or you can use the Desmos graphing calculator, which I think is a little bit easier. So let me show you how Desmos works. So right here on the left side of your screen, you can put in information, and I'm going to type in negative 1/3. That's my fraction. Now, if I want to multiply that by a number, I could just hit the multiply symbol, or I could put the number inside parentheses right here. And then the answer is going to be at the bottom of the box. So negative 1/3 times 3 is negative 1. Sometimes you get decimals for your answer. That's fine. You can actually make them into fractions if you want. So let's say I do something like this. Well, I get 2.6 repeating. That's my decimal. If I want to make it into a fraction, I'm going to click this little icon over here to the left-hand side, and that's going to make it into a fraction, 8/3. So I thought that was pretty cool when I first found it.